Welcome back to the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life. All right, kids and kittens, let's talk about FET. FET Life was the start of it all for me. My husband, his actual first app was SLS, but he is now definitely on board with FET Life. We have actually broken down our roles to a couple of important pieces. He's in charge of posting video, I do writing, I message, and he helps. But let's be honest, he needs to help because he's the one creating the onslaught of messages by posting his content. He posts play photos and I post random glimpses. I try to keep the glimpses fun or funny, and he's more factual, more about the date and time. But the most important part of it is that we are enjoying it together. Occasionally, I'll write up a corresponding blurb for some party or event that we attended or for a video that he posts. It's another way to experience the fun. We try to share our sexy adventures so that others can live vicariously or get an idea or two of how to start their own journey. My goal is to produce rewarding content that makes people hot. I'm going to read one of my prior adventure writings for you now. Okay, so the night is billed as a gangbang. There are 3 ladies that are featured. I just happen to make the marquee. I am actually the only one of the 3 listed that is showing up. There are other women there, and I don't know who they are, but I was not privy to their experiences, so I'm not going to share that with you. We're early, and all of the men said that they were coming, were actually going to be late. I was offered an opportunity to get warmed up with one of the running security. I stripped down in the room with the king-size bed, grabbed a towel because, despite the futility of the endeavor, I am trying to prevent ruining the bed. I started with a warm-up blowjob. Now, this is just a report, not a brag. I have been told that my mouth is addictive. I love blowjobs. Messy, wet, can't breathe, gagging, tears running down my cheeks, blowjobs. I like being in control. I like being used as an oral fleshlight. I like my hair being used as a handle. I like driving men crazy with my tongue as it rubs that one spot. You know which one. I like looking like I'm wrecked when I finally get my cummy reward. I like having men come in my mouth, on my tits, in my face. Do not come in my hair, though. So we started with the blowjob, and even if it's as good as my mouth is, it's not the main event. My pussy is the star of the show. I know I'm being terribly braggadocious. I just don't know how else to convey the energy of the evening. Grit your teeth through the narcissism, and there will be a payoff. I hope. I got him off. I threw back on most of my clothes and headed back to the party to get it started. If you've never been to a party or a gangbang, there's a period before it begins where the host will go over the rules of engagement, drinking rules, condoms use, consent required. There are more, but go to a party to hear them. Once the rules are recited, it's the starting gun. I'm headed for the room that I have staked out for the evening. I'm very predictable. I go to the far room, check the AC, get the towels. I don't know why, it's just my process. Armed with my towel, I'm ready. My good friend was there. We've played together many times, and his dick knows my pussy like they were missing puzzle pieces. I get him in my mouth to get him warmed up, hard and ready to pound that pussy. It's a pillow on the floor, kneeling at his feet with my mouth doing the things that my mouth can. Not long, and he wants to reunite the puzzle pieces. I'm on my back with my hips at the edge of the bed, him standing between my thighs. He slides into that wet, hot slut hole that he hasn't been in for far too long. He's ready to go, and so am I. A little warm up, a few strokes, finding the grooves, and that's all it takes for him to start the sprinkler. I'm squirting all over his dick, the pressure of his thrust spraying all over my face. I'm ruining the towels, the sheets, the mattress cover. I'm covering the floor. It's a FEMA situation. There are silver blankets and bottled water, volunteers in boats pulling scared citizenry to safety. But that's not enough to scare anyone at the party away. But maybe I'll tell you more about that later. Right now, I'm going to go find some frozen peas to sit on. Just kidding. I'm built for marathon fucking. So, since I brought it up, I'd like to talk about the available apps to help you find a community. I'll tell you about each app and my actual experience with each one. Where I find success is not going to be the same for everyone, obviously. So, of course, we're also going to revisit these topics because the apps are changing all the time. New ones are coming in and out. It's constantly evolving. So, we're going to take a look at them periodically and see what's new. Geographically, apps have different efficacy. I'm looking and talking about my area pretty exclusively. Different groups and areas latch on to different platforms. So if you're going to be traveling to play, you might want to check into multiple apps to find some buddies. All of my reviews are going to be based on my actual use of them and what I've done and how I have found them to function. If your area is more conducive to different apps, that is great, and I'd love to hear all about your experiences. Let's get started with the granddaddy of all the apps. SLS, Swingers Lifestyle. This is the OG app. And the issue with OG app is that they don't do a lot of updating. The user interface seems less user friendly as time goes on. Now, there are some great features: seeing who's online, being able to post a hot date, events. The drawbacks are the messaging. It's rough. It's hard to see which ones you have replied to, and they stack up on top of each other really tightly. I know that this is a me thing, but let's be honest, all of this is a me thing. So, also, the app doesn't work on all of my devices. There are times when it will not load. The people on the site are there to hook up, and they are casting a wide net, and that's very cool with this goal in mind. Ashley Madison. This one is a rough one for me. It's solely designed to cheat on your spouse, which is, in my relationship, a big no-no. My husband is not even entertaining married men that are keeping play from their wives. First, who needs the drama? Second, it is the position we're trying to avoid by being in the lifestyle. So I don't really mess with this app. Cassidy. I need to explore this app more, but it is not something that I've heard of in my local community. So it's really big in Vegas. So when I head there on vacation, I want to see what's happening out there. So it's also skewed toward the slender and the hot, but we shall see if it's got dangerous curve rider ability. I'm biased, so my favorite app is FetLife. I know it's not swinger centric and it can be rough to figure out the community that you fit into, but it is so awesome to message people, post content, do status updates, write, perv on other people's content. Also, meet people with a variety of fetishes. I like the messaging feature. I like the fact that there's a free and a paid, and that with the paid, you get something very worth the price of admission: access to the videos. If you're doing the free, you can still see all of the photos, the writings, the members, and there's also no cap on messaging, no limit to how many events you can see. I love the fact that there are fetishes beyond hot wife that I like to explore and that there's a community for those as well. When you get down to it, though, all of these apps are just designed to make it easier to get laid. So if that's your goal, how do you go from perving to playing? Okay, that's interesting. The majority of my success has been on FET and some from SLS. So those are the ones that I'm going to discuss. SLS, we found a couple of hotel takeovers that we attended way back in the day before we actually really got started, back when we were still having communication issues. We had a great time, but we didn't play. Later, we found a house party that we attended that led to one of my favorite benefit friends, Mike. You may have heard of him. He's become a regular play for me at my house. One time, my husband posted a hot date that led to some hot fun, but it was very stranger in a hotel room for us that led to a little awkward adjusting. Now, I'm great in a social setting. I make conversations and connections, and I can get to a point where I feel good about the person. So when my clothes come off, there's less anxiety that we're not going to be interested. That's why I love FET. We have so much success going to parties and finding a batting roster of guys that like to meet up and are really fun to play with. I love hotel parties, somewhat house parties. I've had more success with the hotel parties, obviously. And right now, my batting average at a hotel party is between 5 and 15 cocks per party. I'm a huge advocate for parties because it takes the pressure off you. If they want to play, they ask. If they don't want to play, you're so busy with a cock in your pussy and your mouth and really anywhere you want it to notice. It takes the sting out of it for me. And in the quiet moments, it's led to some really great connections and conversations. One day I will discuss my How to Go bag and my play phone and the essentials of party survival. If you're interested, I can also tell you the way to make parties a side hustle for yourself. Now it's time for our listener question. If you would like to ask a question, you can feel free to send me a question, a story, anything you want to hear about on this podcast at pineapplepinuppod@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And now here's our question. How awkward was it, if any, with your husband after your first play session? From Josh. Okay, so after my first play session, I was expecting it to be super awkward, to be sort of like an emotional minefield that we were going to have to dance through, but it ended up, he was just so turned on that it became all about the sex and reconnecting and telling the stories and making it that much hotter for him, which made it that much hotter for me. There was no awkwardness. It was so much fun torturing him for that 45 minutes. It was truly one of the best times of my life. I really, really enjoyed the sex with my husband that day. I enjoyed the connection that we made. I enjoyed the intimacy of the talk that we had. I enjoyed listening to how he felt about what had gone on. It was truly and without a doubt the hottest experience between me and my husband. Now, there have been other very, very, very hot and probably the hottest moments if I were to talk about those individually. So it's very, there's no such thing as rankings when you're having sex with the same person and every single time is fun and funny and you get off. So it's really hard to put a quantifier on there, but it was a very hot evening. So I hope that answers your question, Josh. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life podcast. Please, if you're enjoying it, like and subscribe, share. We're located on several more platforms now, so feel free to leave a review. I really appreciate you listening. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode.